And we're live.
We are
All
live.
right.
End of the year.
So solitary is the path you're on. What's up, everyone? Jack Mangan here. Got my Queensryche shirt. Not Jack Scrooge, Jack Mangan. Got a lot of stuff to announce. I'm gonna not announce it yet. I've got a couple of major announcements to make. So I'm gonna do those. And then Rich and I are gonna get into top albums of the year, top concerts of the year, connections of the year, and books. 2024 is a hell of a year. It's very busy. So Rich,
Live
tell us
albums,
all who you are.
right? Live albums, our favorite concerts.
Yes, concerts. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot to run through. So I'm always here we'll usually here with Jack. Rich Catino from, of course, Metal Asylum. I write for Brave Words, the Metal Hall of Fame, contribute at Sea of Tranquility for the new wave of traditional heavy metal topic, and once in a while with Jimmy K at the Metal Voice doing unboxings usually of box sets and new releases once in a while. So, yeah.
Nice.
And Jack, what do you got
Yeah,
going on?
I got a lot going on. Hang on, I'm trying to share this around, but you know what? I'll just
Okay.
talk. Hang on.
Cool. That's all right. Well,
I'll
we're
talk.
going to start off with you have a top 40. I got a top
Yeah,
30. So we're going to kind of go through 10 and then 10 and then talk about our top 10. Right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, you know what? I will. Let's just get to that after we get to our number ones, and I have some major announcements. So, our two people watching right now. Let me
Right.
share this again because
Right.
we need people watching.
Well,
Um,
it'll go to our YouTube anyway, so people can always watch it later.
yes, make sure that if you're coming in halfway through, that's just on YouTube. All right, so yeah, let me start. I will start because I actually went. I did overboard. I did 40.
Right.
So Rich was a slacker and only did 30.
Right.
Now
Well,
Rich,
you even just threw me a curveball of another thing we had to add within the last 5 minutes that I had to quickly think about. So you're just the overachiever right now in 2024.
here you go.
All
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right,
right.
so
So we're doing our bottom 10, correct? 30
yep,
to, well, you're doing 40 down to 21. I'll do 30 down to 21, correct?
I'll stop at 31, so you can jump in. So,
Okay.
all right. So
All right.
number 40 for the year for me for 2024.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, one more preamble thing. We're not going to discuss these really. We might come back and circle back. We're going to discuss our top 10.
Okay.
So, but of course, if they're on our top list of the year, then we recommend them.
Okay.
Number 40 for me, Devin Townsend, Power Nerd. Number 39, Striker, some Canadian friends. Their album is Ultra Power. Evil Dead, Toxic Grace, excellent LA thrash. Iron Flame, Kingdom Torn Asunder. Riot 5, however you want to say it. Mean Streets, Gravedigger, the Bone Collector. By the way, we just talked to him, talked to Chris from Gravedigger.
Wait, did you say Gravedigger Bone Collector?
Yeah, no,
It's
you're
not,
right.
it comes
Sorry.
out, well, it comes out in 2025 though, even though we got to listen to it.
Oh shit, did I? I jumped the gun. So that'll be on my
No,
list for
that'll be for
2025.
2025. So that'll be an honorable nod then for forecast for 2025 then.
Yes, that will be an honorable nod. Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So, all right. Thanks, Rich, for keeping me honest. Number 34, this did come out this year. Saxon, Hellfire and Damnation,
Yes.
which I know that's ranked very highly on other people's lists, so it's a good album. Category 7, Supergroup. Their album's good. Dark Tranquility, End Time Signals. And then at 31, the band Satan, Songs in Crimson.
All right.
Rich,
30. 30, you got Paul Diano's Warhorse, Stop the War EP. Satan, Songs in Crimson. Babylon AD, they're still around. Rome wasn't built in a day. If you like their 80s, late 80s, early 90s, hard rock. The Evil Dead, Toxic Grace, Praying Mantis, new wave of British heavy metal band. They've been going on for ever, putting out great melodic, sometimes AOR rock, sometimes metal. A little bit of both. So the album was Defiance. Attacker, The God Particle, Mike Sabatini, who we've interviewed. He's been on. So they put out a good album. Where are we at here? Attacker, Vulture, Sentinels, good new speed metal thrash, right? Very Exciter-ish and Anvil and Razor, if you're a fan of those bands. Firewind, Stand United, another strong album from Gus G and the power metal that they make. I always enjoy his playing. Clovenhoof, another new wave of British heavy metal band that's still around, making great new music. Heathen Cross, and then Tyr, Battle Ballads. So for a little folk melodic, actually their newer albums are more melodic. There's a lot more singing, right, than
Yeah.
the melodic death metal that they do, the harsher vocal. So a lot of singing on the new album. I like it. So
Yeah.
that's my 20.
TYR, right? Tier,
UIR,
TYR.
Tyr. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. 30 through 21 for me. Jerry Cantrell, I Want Blood. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
Right.
Accept Humanoid. Excellent album. Listen Pelletieri or Impelletieri. War
Mm.
Machine. Great guitar, as always.
Tons of
Um,
shredding. Tons.
yeah, just great stuff.
Yeah.
Number 27, Kerry King from Hell I Rise. Kerry King is back. Number 26, big shout out to Giles Avery, Warlord, Free Spirit Soar.
Mhm.
Number 25, High on Fire, Cometh the Storm. Number 24, I might mispronounce it, Borknagar.
Go ahead.
Their album, The Fall. Yeah, I think I got it right. Number
Okay.
23, I know Rich is a fan, Suicidal Angels, excellent thrash band. Their album,
Mhm.
Profane Prayer.
If you're a fan of Creator and Slayer,
Yeah, good stuff. Number 22, this is probably the biggest surprise in my whole list. Mark Storace from Crocus, gave an album called Crossfire. And no offense, Mark, been a fan of yours almost my whole life. I had when a singer comes out with an album late in the career like this, I have very low expectations. I think the album is fantastic. And
it's
then,
very. I listened to it after you told me, and it's
yeah,
very like we were saying. It's ACDC and very old Crocus too, because old Crocus was very ACDC. Before they did the Headhunter
yeah,
album. You know.
yeah. The only thing I would say it's missing is another Screaming in the Night, but I mean that's a
Yeah.
once in a lifetime kind of masterpiece.
Okay.
Excellent album. And then my number 21. Speaking of old guys who are still delivering, the Deep Purple album equals one.
I didn't get to that. I've heard it's very enjoyable.
Yep, it's not going to replace any of their classics
Yeah.
in anybody's list, but very good album, worthy
Is it
of being
is
talked
it
about.
hard rocking? Is it like maybe Perfect Strangers, or is it more 70s, or is it like maybe the Joel and Turner album? What does it, feel like?
It's reminiscent of the '90s albums, like
Okay.
Perpendicular, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And forgive me if Perpendicular, I don't remember if that was early 2000s or '90s, but it's reminiscent of that era to me.
Okay.
So it's not gonna, you're not gonna jump in a mosh pit and break somebody's nose, but it's good.
Uh-huh.
It's hard rocking.
Okay.
All right, Rich is number 20 through 11.
All right, 20, Suicidal Angels. Profane Prayer was the album. The Warlord made my 20. I got to listen to it a little later, but I enjoyed it, got to absorb it. So that was called Free Spirit Soar. The Accept is in my 20, Humanoid. The
Yeah,
Hammerfall album, Avenge the Fallen. Always liked Hammerfall. They have their moments where few albums are not as strong as others. It feels like it's kind of the same old, but I really like the new one.
yeah,
The Impelliteria is at my 16. War Machine. Always enjoy Chris's playing because he does a lot of shredding, but he also plays with a lot of feel and melody. And Rob Rock is such a great singer.
yeah.
Always enjoyed his voice. Um, some newer music, newer band, but they've been around for a while. Crystal Viper. Do you know them?
Yeah, yeah. We've been covering them for a while. Like, yeah, they're not like even kids anymore.
They're not
Yeah.
even really the new wave of new wave of traditional heavy metal. They're a little more kind of the first or second wave because that's been around for over 10 years now,
I mean, I would still put them there, same
15
as,
years. Yeah, because they're
but
younger
yeah,
bands. So, yeah.
yeah,
Also, Iron Flame, another newer band. They're number 14 with Shadow of the Reaper. I really like that one. If you like power metal mixed with
yeah.
traditional metal, it's a little bit of both.
That was on my list. Yeah.
The Sebastian Bach album, Child Within the Man, was really good. It was kind of reminded me of a little bit of Slave to the Grind, meets a little bit of what was the third album? I like that one too. It's kind of dark and a little grungy in parts, but it was good. Subhuman Race.
Hey,
Hey
Tanvir.
Tanvir,
Hey, glad to see you, man.
what's
Would
up?
love to. Tanvir, actually, sorry, it's totally interrupting Rich. This is what I do. I interrupt
Sorry.
Rich.
It's all right.
Good to see you. Yeah,
We've seen a few of his favorite albums who made both of our lists.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So love your input as we're going here, Tim.
Let's see, where are we? 13. Number 12, Striper, When We Were Kings. Striper's been making new music for, geez, since even before the 2000s. They had two, was it an album? There was Reborn and then the other one. I forgot when those came out. But anyway, they've been making plenty of new music, like 5 albums, right?
And I'm going to interrupt again because that's what I do.
Five
I
new
loved
albums.
when Rich interviewed Michael Sweet a couple of years ago. I remember Rich said, "So what's one thing you'd like people to know about Stryper?" And his answer was, "I'd like people to know that we don't suck," which I thought was really a great
I,
little humble
I
moment.
totally
Which
forgot
is
about
it was
that.
a great interview moment. Rich, great job, Rich. And yeah, Stryper are heavy now. People just think,
They
"Oh,
always
it's
were.
more."
They always were.
Well,
To
sure.
Hell with the Devil, Soldiers Under Command, The Writings on the Wall, that song alone, they were always heavy. But anyway, yeah, so
Within
that
reason.
new album came out. I mean, that new album came in at 12. Then I liked the Striker, even though I hated the fashion that they did with this album. Too much bright colors and everything. It was so very 80s. I liked the image better when they did the denim and the leather, but I still enjoyed the music. A couple corny songs on the new album, but still overall, I enjoyed it. I think they got great riffs, great hooks, very singable, but still heavy, you know?
I actually think I like the singles the least. Like I was not crazy about the best of the best
Yeah.
or sucks to suck, but
Yeah,
I
the
think it's a
titles
good
are
album.
just terrible. Yeah.
All
But the rest of
right.
the album I did like. Let's see. Striker is number 11. So, all right, you're
So
next.
so we're going to get into some awesome albums on my list here. I mean, everything I've recommended, of course, is good, has its strong points. But my 20 through 11, there's some great stuff here. So number 20, Rich already called out Vulture Sentinels, just good thrash album.
Right.
I like the new Nightwish album, Yesterwind. I did, to be blunt, I like symphonic metal. I'm a fan, but I didn't really
So do
like the full
I am.
symphonic version as much. But I like the one that's classic Nightwish. It's good stuff. Good for them for continuing and still sounding good.
What was the
Uh,
album before this one? Which was really also very symphonic, very orchestrated. I forgot what it was called.
yeah, this one feels a little. I know. Maybe someone can help us out. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but yeah, this one I
Yeah,
think
I'll
is
look it up. Go
a
ahead,
little
I'll look it
heavier.
up.
Number 18, Valley of the Sun, Quintessence. This one took me by surprise. It's really great stoner doom. I had my second listen, so if you listen to it and go, it's pretty good, listen to it again.
What's the name of the
The
band?
Valley of the Sun. So
Valley of the Sun.
it
Okay.
might even be local for me. I don't even know because Phoenix is the Valley of the Sun.
Wait, the
Um,
Nightwish album was Human to Nature. 2020 it came out.
yes, that's right. See, now Rich is interrupting me. See, it's fair. I'm just kidding. So number 17, Monkey 3, Welcome to the Machine. This is one of my favorite jammy kind of groovy bands. They have almost fully instrumental. I believe this album is fully instrumental. In full disclosure, it's been a little while. Welcome to the Machine, Monkey 3, just such fantastic, just spacey explorations, so much groove. Just I don't mean groove like Pantera groove, just like really the ethereal kind of transcendent stuff.
That's what I like
Number
about your
16.
list. You always throw in something that's very artsy, avant-garde, right? It's definitely left field. Not everybody maybe heard of it, you know?
Yeah, Eric is
Hey,
watching. All
Erica.
right. Yes.
Happy
That's
holidays
one of our announcements, by the way. We're gonna have Erica back on.
in
You
January.
know, yeah. By the way, let's go through some Denver. Don't get me started on Striper. And then he
All
talks
right.
about abundance of great progressive metal albums for sure.
Yes, there is
Uh,
always.
Not exactly speaking of, got Judas Priest, Invincible Shield was number 16 for me, which I think a lot of people had it ranked higher, but I mean 16 is still means it's a great album.
Jack, don't you
Uh,
actually have a prog metal album that we both talked about in your, is it your 20 or your 10?
I have a couple of prog metal
Okay.
albums.
There's one I
Yeah.
remember we talked about. So go ahead, keep going.
Number 15, Rotting Christ, Pro Christu. It's kind of a rerun of the Heretics, and not honestly not as good as the Heretics. I think I ranked that like number 2 of that year, but Rotting Christ, they're doing a good stuff. Sakish Tolish, which forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the guy's name, just great stuff. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't like death metal, they've changed a lot. It's a lot more accessible. It's just heavy and it's still heavy as hell, but it's definitely more accessible now. Speaking of heavy, number 14, the Blood Incantation album, Absolute Elsewhere. Is this one you're thinking of, Rich? The Prague album?
The Blood Incantation?
Yeah.
No, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, we'll circle back. I know for many people that was their number one. Number 13, Sermon, the Stygian Rose. Number 12, Flotsam and Jetsam, I Am the Weapon. Number 11, Unleash the Archers, Phantoma. And before, I just got to say, especially those top four, but many in that list in other years would be in the top five. There's just some brilliant stuff there. Anyway, let me check on our messages, but go ahead, Rich.
Okay. You got to 11?
Yeah, I'm at 11.
Okay. So this is our 10. So we'll comment a little bit about each one of these.
Yeah. Go in depth. Actually, we hang on, folks. Do you want to stop at number 6? So we'll do that, and then we'll
do 5 to 1. Yeah.
No, never mind.
No?
Sorry, folks.
Just go 10 to 1.
Folks. Yeah, let's do 10 to 1. But you're right. We'll
All
stop and talk about them each.
All right.
Your
Because
number
then
10.
we have other things. We remember we did like 5 other topics, so we got a couple other things to throw in there for the year.
I know.
So 10, I got this band called Toxic Coal. So it's like toxic, but it's toxic like coal like Kull. So it's kind of like they kind of remind me of Nevermore a little bit of Sanctuary. They're not quite full on thrash. They're a little metal church too. Great singing, but great riffs, catchy hooks. But it's aggressive, you know.
Yeah, I slept on that one. I need to check it out. Toxic Coal.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after we're done, we'll just post our list at Facebook. You know, the Asylum Facebook, so everybody can just read them. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Then we'll all know how to spell it.
And it was one album that I almost forgot. You know, because there's so many albums that we talked about. Right? We went both over our list so we could not forget something. So that was one I almost forgot.
Okay.
This other band, they're called The Headless Ghost, which I think you checked them out, right?
Yeah. Wait, is this your number 9?
Yes.
All right. Well, hang on. We're going to do 10 and then 10 and then 9 and 9.
Wait. I thought we were doing.
All right. No, we'll go. We'll go to number 6 because we gotta. I'll do my 10 too.
Okay.
So we should have rehearsed. Anyway,
All right.
Rich is number 9.
You're just throwing me a curveball now with the top 10. All right. So
Rich,
you hear me?
Yeah, Rich is number 9.
All right. Number 9 is that band that I just said, The Headless Ghost. King of Pain was the album. So they're like the music is like King Diamond without the vocals. So more of a traditional metal voice without the falsetto, right? And King style.
Okay. Yeah, again, that's another one I missed. I didn't hear.
But you said you checked it out, right? You liked it?
No, I don't think I think no, I didn't hear that one. I got to check it out.
Okay. Next is Saxon, Hellfire and Damnation.
Yeah, it was on my list.
I mean, their last 4 or 5 albums have been really strong anyway.
Yeah, you know what you're getting. It's not like you're gonna listen to it and suddenly be like, wow, there's a saxophone. But no, it's a very strong Saxon album. I mean, I'm not gonna rank it among my favorite Saxon albums, but it's good.
It's tough because there's a lot of bands that have been around for a long time that I didn't put them so high up because they put out an album. There's like been a lot of albums recently, so even though it's a good album, maybe it didn't rank so high. So maybe I enjoyed the Saxon a little more this round, and I listened to it more. So that's why it's a little bit higher than previous, Saxon albums. But it's still in there. What's next? All right, Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. I really enjoyed that. I know everybody knows me for my power metal and my glam metal and my traditional metal, but I do like melodic death metal, I know,
Yes.
Danvir, I know I love my power metal. I did have them in there. I had my Hammerfall, right? And Imperatori's got some power metal going on there, so they made it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is anybody else in the rest of my list? Maybe not so much power metal this year. I'm slacking. All right, so what did I say? So the Opeth, yeah. So I like a little bit of melodic death metal, especially when Opeth are singing. I do prefer that over the growls, but the growls and where they're placed, it makes sense. The
growls are back too.
They are, but it makes sense when you're listening to the whole song, each composition.
Yeah, I
It
think
works.
Michael is one of the best in the world
Yeah, it
ever.
works for
Really.
me when he does it. His placement's really good.
Yeah.
Next, Flotsam and Jetsam, I Am the Weapon. Their last 3, 4 albums have been great too. Just great thrash, still melodic. They're awesome.
Yeah. That was my number 12. Yeah, that's such a one of their strongest albums in years. And that's not to say that they've been slacking, but it just especially the opening couple of tracks, it just hits like a buzzsaw. It's just such powerful stuff.
Yep.
So
So that's up to
kudos. Good.
my 6. Let me see. How many albums have
Yeah.
they put out recently? Hold on, let me see. I think it's the last 4, right? That I'm talking about. I gotta look it up.
Um,
Hold on, I'm gonna find it now. Yep. Flotsam and Jetsam self-titled was 2016. So this makes the 4th one in 2024. So the last 4 have been awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're a consistent band. Again, I mean, not like they ever were bad. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Um,
So now you got your 10 through 6, and then we're gonna do 5 through 1.
all right, yeah, we'll do that. All right. That works. So my number 10 is a band that is a little under the radar. I discovered them by catching them live earlier this year. They were on a thrashy little bill with Exciter and Midnight and a couple other bands. A band called Wraith. Fueled by Fear is the album. It's just a great, excellent. It's pretty much straight up thrash, but they're really good. And no offense to the guy. All right, I don't even know his name. The lead singer goes up on stage, and I thought he was like he's just this doofy looking guy with like a state trooper mustache, and then he goes up to the mic and just killed it. And by no offense, man, look at me. I'm not talking about anybody being doofy looking, but just great band. I was so impressed, and I went back immediately and checked out the album. The album came out earlier this year. Fueled by Fear, excellent stuff. Number 9, band. I believe they're Canadian, and it's very much like what Opeth used to be. A band called Ancients, but for some reason they spell it funny, so with 2 I, so it's Ancients. The album's Beyond the Reach of the Sun, very much classic. Well, I don't mean classic as in like 90s death metal Opeth, but like very much early 2000s Opeth. Brilliant songwriting, just really strong stuff. I really can't say enough. I wish your spell checker will give you crap when you try when you look them up, but it's absolutely worth it. Look up Ancients Beyond the Reach of the Sun. The weirdest album on my whole 40 list is at number 8. A band called Four Stroke Baron. I really liked their last one, which was produced by Devin Townsend. This is not for everyone, but it's bizarre. There's a lot of strange sound effects. Vocals all pretty much clean, but just just weird stuff. But I really like it. I don't just like weird just for the sake of weird, but good songs. Like I've gone back and listened to this album a bunch of times. This is a good band. I'm definitely keeping an eye on. I don't even know the name of the meaning of the band name. Four Stroke Baron. The album is Data Diamond. Number 7. I know Tanvir is going to appreciate this one. Vanden Plas. It's got a
That
long title.
that
The
was the
Imperium.
album that I was talking about, and he mentioned it before, but I didn't want to say anything. That was the one we were talking about that I listened to, enjoyed it, but I didn't get it early enough to put it in my 20 or 30.
Okay. Yeah, it's this is a band that I had discovered them at Chronicles of the Immortal number 2, and I've just been with them ever since. Just it's such strong songwriting, such great, this smart stuff, smart songwriting, smart riffs. They remind me of actually my number 1 band a little bit, who I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, the Empyrean Equation of the Long Lost Things. I love it, love it, love it. This is a great band. I can't get enough. And then my number 6 is another one that Rich mentioned. This is usually the number. These guys are usually holding down my number 1 slot. So in a way, this is a fall for them to be number 6 of the year. Opeth, the Last Will and Testament. I disagree with the statement that this is the best thing they've done in decades. I strongly disagree. I think the Pale Communion album is a freaking masterpiece. I think Sorceress had so many great parts. Even Incauda Venenum had some filler, but it was some really high points. However, I don't care about Opeth, about Michael bringing the growls back. It's neat, but that's not what matters to me. I think there's still some amazing songwriting. I wish he had named the songs a little more distinctly so I could call him out. But I say what he's paragraph 1 is
Everything's a
probably the
number.
best. Yeah, it closes with a ballad, which is a good ballad. It's not
Mhm.
I don't like it as much as Faith in Others and some of the other ones. Anyway, I could talk for the next 3 hours about Opeth and Michael Ackerfeld.
That could be a topic at some point. We could talk about all their albums, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be like a 4 hour discussion. But yeah, we should definitely do an Opeth show. Just excellent stuff. And I still feel like the Still Life, um, Blackwater Park, Watershed era that's peak Opeth for me. The Damnation. But this is just it's wonderful. So check
Mm.
out Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. It's hits all the right notes. All right, Rich is going to bring us from 5 to number 1, I think.
Yep. All right. So number 5 is The Priest, Invincible Shield. Another great, right? Another great album from them. I mean, Firepower was great enough, and this is equally great. Do you agree?
No, I think it's a
No.
great album. I think I prefer Firepower,
Hmm.
but I like it very much. Like I have
They're like a
nothing.
tie for me, I think.
They are close. Yeah, you're right. I'll grant that.
Yeah. The Riot album. Riot put out an album, Mean Streets. Love it. There's my power metal, Tanvir. There we got some power metal in the top 5.
That was on my list. Now, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rich. I will definitely. I missed this one. Missed my radar, Tanvir. So I'm going to check it out. So thanks for the recommendation.
Okay.
But go on, Rich.
So yeah, our friend Sam Solomon, he'll be happy to see that Riot's in my top 5. I love that album.
It's
It's
very
great.
melodic. It's very
It is.
it's not like a punch in the face. It's really accessible. Like
Yeah,
but good songwriting, great vocals. I mean, Riot. This is one of the most tenacious, persistent, resilient bands. The things
I
they've
know, right?
endured, and that they're still going.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
And the singer, right? Todd Michael Hall, he's amazing. Like
Yes.
so melodic. He's like pitch perfect all the time. I can, that guy just sounds amazing. He did a cover of Take Hold of the Flame from Queensryche recently. Did you listen to that
Yeah.
yet?
Yeah. What a
Brilliant.
voice. I mean,
Just brilliant. Yeah.
he was on one of those shows, right? He was on like I don't know which one. He was on one of those
Yeah.
those talent shows,
TV
like The
shows.
Voice
Yep.
or
The
something.
singer shows. I
Yeah.
forgot which one, but yep, he was. All right, next. This band called Snakebite. I forgot what country they're from. It's called Cobra Crew. And I thought they were great. I've heard their previous albums. These guys are like Whitesnake meets like the new wave of traditional heavy metal and British heavy metal. So it's got that 80s Whitesnake, a little bit of the glam metal thing going on, but it's more hard rock and it's got more Maiden things going on and Praying Mantis and Tigers of Pantang going on. And I think they're great. I thought the album was great and it deserved to be in my 5. Even my list, when I do my list for Brave Words, I think I put the Snake Bite in there too because I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it
Number
is very melodic.
It
Yeah.
is. It's very catchy, and it's a newer band too, which is great. Got to support the newer bands, right?
And hey, you know what, Rich, let's keep our viewers in suspense. Why don't you stop at number 1? Don't say you're number 1, and then we'll do our number 1.
All
So
right.
I'm with that.
My number 2 is the Bruce Dickinson, the Mandrake Project.
Yes.
Love Bruce. I love his solo albums, and this I equally enjoyed. You know,
Yes. I don't understand the it's not metal complaints. It's absolutely
it
metal,
is.
but I mean, but regardless, it's a just great song. I mean,
Of
Bruce has
course, it's
really
metal.
got
How is
it.
it not metal? How are those riffs not metal? Even though there's
Yeah.
variety, it's still metal. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got? 5 through 2.
5 through 2. As a band I just saw in concert, Zeal and Ardor. The album is Grief, misspelled. I don't know the reason why.
Mm,
Greif. This
okay.
is a weird. Manuel Gagnon is the band leader and he was the father of the band. He even said, to the sold out club, but it was a smaller club in Phoenix. He even said, thanks for coming out. We're a weird band from Europe. We appreciate you guys coming out.
And you've been listening to them
They're
for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been listening from the beginning, from the very first album, from Devil Is Fine. Yeah, it's their shtick is that they do they combine a lot of soulful singing, a lot of slave chants, like American slave chants and gospel singing, a lot of that kind of like
Hmm.
rhythmic chants with death metal. So, but it fuses really well, and he's a great songwriter. There's also a lot of beauty and a lot of melody. I can't say enough great things about this band. I predicted, they're not the biggest band in the world. They're playing small clubs and they have a good following, but I predicted this band was going to take over the world, and it shows you what I know. But Zeal and Ardor, Grief, cannot say enough good things. Just beautiful, brilliant, heavy as fuck, but whatever. It's good
Mhm.
stuff. Um, Speaking of, could say a lot of those same adjectives can describe my number four, Oceans of Slumber, where God's Fear to Speak. I talked to Dauber and Cami earlier this year. Apparently, they've announced in the press that they're going to be 2025 is going to be a little bit of a quieter year for them because they're expecting. So congratulations to them. But we
Cool.
may not get an album or a tour from them in 2025. But she's just there is no better singer working today. She just brings everything. She has so much power. She's actually incorporated growls into her voice now, just because she's like, I've conquered everything, and then now I need to conquer this vocal style as well. She's just she brings so much power and soul. They're just such an amazing band. Do not sleep on Oceans of Slumber. Just it's proggy, it's heavy, it's smart, it's soulful. It'll bring a tear to your eye. It's emotionally powerful. It's just I can't say enough good things about Oceans of Slumber. Where God's Fear to Speak. Number three, I love the Bruce Dickinson album, The Mandrake Project. I'm not gonna, I love Iron Maiden. I think Iron Maiden's still going strong, but I think
Mhm.
if I had to hold the two together, I prefer the Mandrake Project to Maiden's latest. So I think again, that's not throwing shade at Maiden. That's just how I feel. I think I think the Mandrake Project is a little more adventurous. It's bolder songwriting, and it's just Bruce has just got it. He's a great storyteller. I just think the album is fantastic. Number two, the band. Um, we've gotten to know this guy and the band over the years. I've been supporting them from the beginning. Schumann, Opposing
Right.
Mirrors.
You have.
Um, Yes, probably, and for my money, probably the best active prog metal band out today. I love Symphony X. We haven't heard from Symphony X in forever. Dream Theater, of course, the list goes on and on and on for great bands. But yeah, the Schumann, Opposing Mirrors. You not just you got to check it out. It's probably possibly got their best epic
Wait,
tune
hold on a second. I'll
on
be
it.
back. My other phone's ringing.
Rich is very important, everyone. Um, so, um, but yeah, I think. Let me see. We'll get some. So yes, this is a good question. We'll talk about this in a little bit in a second, Tanvir. But yeah, so Face in the Mirror stopped Mandrake from being your number one, huh? That's interesting. Yeah, it's uh, you know I I guess I've looked at that over the years. Like for me, I don't want to start a side argument, but yeah, I feel like Ride the Lightning is still a perfect album in spite of one lesser song. Anyway, so yeah, so Schumann, Opposing Mirrors. I when we talked to them earlier this year, and I had said, at the time, I was like, this is my number one album of the year. So something else did supplant it, but it's just brilliant. I listened to it a lot, and this is an album I'm not going to put away and forget about. This is not a band I'm going to forget about. This is just fantastic stuff. That's my number two. All right, Rich,
All right. Number
big moment.
one. You mentioned them before. Crypt, Sermon, the Stygian Rose. Where did they come for you?
They were at number 13 for me.
Okay. So yeah, I discovered these guys during the year, and it was like I was listening to Nevermore again, but with a little more doom going on and a little more progressive happening. I think they're from Pennsylvania, if I'm correct. Um,
Yeah, yeah, they're American.
yeah, they are. I think they're from Pennsylvania, but I thought that album was great. If you like Nevermore and if you like bands like Candlemass, then check out Crypt Sermon, The Stygian Rose. Lots of
So,
melody, but you got some progressive changes going on. You got some doominess kind of going on, but there's still aggression. There's melodic singing. They're great.
so Rich and I had a little disagreement about this. I hear a lot of classic, like old Sabotage, especially in the vocals. I think, but even in
Maybe
the songs,
Mountain King somewhere, maybe around there. Yeah, but
yeah,
not like Gutter Ballet or Streets, because then you're getting into more of the prog and the theater kind of thing, and it's definitely not like Sirens or Power of the Night. It's that Mountain
right.
King kind of album, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so my number one, definitely a great choice. Much respect for that one. Like I said, Crypt Sermon. That's in most other years recently that would have been in my top five. That's how
Mm.
strong of a year this was. My
Okay.
number one. All right, Tanvir, here we go. And viewers, this one is I cannot recommend. I'm repeating myself by saying this phrase over and over. I cannot recommend it enough. A band that I really enjoyed the last one, but this one really brings it home. Manticora, Mycelium. This is the album of
Mhm.
the year for me. It's absolutely, the riffs are just relentlessly brilliant. The
Where are
riffs
they
are
from?
just relentlessly inventive. That's a good question. Where are they from?
Let me see.
But
I'm
yeah,
look-
just really the songwriting, the way that these songs are pieced together, and the riffs, and also, I mean, heaviness is not the sole qualifier for what makes something great, but it's unapologetically heavy. It's really heavy, but they do it in a way that just brings a release. It's kind of harkens back to being well, for people of my age, being a teenager discovering Metallica and that stuff. This is more proggy than thrashy, but it's just crazy heavy. Wonderful songwriting. The songs are all long. I think there are only 6 songs in the album, but they're all
What's
pretty
the name of
long.
the album again?
Mycelium, like the
Mycelium. Okay. They've been
yeah,
around since '97.
yeah. They're not new kids. They've been around for quite a bit of time. And
Yeah, they
I
are Danish.
that's right. I did know that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll admit to having discovered them within the last 5 or 6 years or so, or maybe I don't know, recently. I can't claim to have been there from the beginning, but
Mm.
I am a new fan. Definitely go out and check out Manticore's Mycelium. All right,
All right.
that's it. That's our top of the year. We have a
Okay.
whole bunch of other stuff, and it's exciting. So don't go anywhere. Rich and I have more stuff to talk about. What do you want to do next, Rich?
Well, we have our honorable nods that you said that if it didn't make our 30 or 40, just ones that we maybe wanted to include, listened to them too late, but we still wanted to mention them. So I mentioned the Vandenplas because I didn't get enough time to, take it all in. There was a band called Attic, like the attic in your house, and the album was called Return of the Witchfinder, which is basically like a second generation King Diamond band. Same kind of singing, same kind of arrangements, progressive and all that. But yeah, the vocalist, it's so King Diamond. So if you're a fan of that, I didn't put it in my 20 or my 30 just because it's so similar. It wasn't different enough that I didn't put it in there, but an honorable nod because it's from the new generation. They're carrying on that sound and that tradition. So I thought it's cool anyway. And then I forgot about the band Atrophy from the late 80s, early 90s. They were a thrash band. They were from that last
Oh, I
wave,
remember them.
right? If you remember
Yeah,
them,
yeah, I remember
they
that
put out
album.
an album called Asylum, which I enjoy too.
Nice.
What else? Oh, one more thing. A box set that came out. The Black Sabbath Anno Domini set with all of the, not all of them, it's missing Eternal Idol, but the Tony Martin albums from Black Sabbath.
Yeah, good to see that era getting some
Yeah,
respect.
which really needed to be put back out there again. They all got remastered. Forbidden is remixed. And it's great to see that music available again because I love those albums. And Headless Cross is probably a top 5 Sabbath album for me.
Yeah, it's a great era. I can't imagine that Tony ever disliked it, but I think he realized where the money was. But I'm glad that he's showing that some love.
Or he
Um,
just knew that it needed to be out there too with the rest of the catalog. You can't just, you know, pass
yeah.
over that era, you know?
So yeah, so I'll just rattle off a couple of things I didn't say. I don't want to focus too much on more albums, but I'll just rattle them off. There's a new Wither Fall, which I, to be honest, have not heard, but they're always a reliable band. I can predict they would have made my list.
Mm-hmm.
Axel Rudy Pell has an album this year. Alcest has an album this year. They opened for a Zealand Ardor band called Gaera. It's a little more
Gaera?
screamy than I like. Yeah, Gaera. It's a little more screamy than I like, but there's some good music there. And then as Tanver pointed out, the Evergrey, and actually I didn't
Totally missed the
Hammerfall.
Evergrey, man. Dude, I
Yeah,
totally missed that one.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna do my announcements while we got people's attention. Then we're gonna get to some other things. We're gonna get to books and concerts and encounters. So I got three big bits of news. One, I got go and get it's Christmas. So if you're watching around Christmas time, go and get my Santa Thing is the name of it. It's a short story. It's available cheap. Download it from Amazon Kindle. Just look up my name, Jack Mangan, Santa Thing. It's only $2. You get a fun Christmas horror story.
Okay.
And it's good and bloody, but it's not gonna, it's Christmassy, so it's nicer. It's nicer than your average
Cool.
extreme horror.
Cool.
Um, uh, got a new comic in the works. We're not doing it through Indiegogo, so stay tuned. We're doing Whiskey in the Jar. Kyle Burrows and I, the team who brought you the Am I Evil comic. We also had a different cover artist by the name of James Beveridge, who's incredible. This time around, it's just Kyle and me because we're not, we're doing it a little bit differently. But Whiskey in the Jar,
But you said
classic.
it's going to be based on the classic original. What is it again? It's a poem or a song?
Yeah, it's a classic song. It's a folk song. It's an Irish folk
Okay.
song that countless Irish artists have done. Probably the most famous, especially in the metal world, is Thin Lizzy.
Right.
Well, I mean, Metallica, of course, did a very famous cover, and they did a really good cover of Thin Lizzy's excellent version. Thin Lizzy's version is probably my favorite, but
Mhm.
like every traditional Irish band you can think of, and the Pogues have done a famous cover of it. The Dubliners, the like everyone, Irish Rovers. But yeah, so we're doing that. Of course, we're fans of a lot of the different versions. We'll throw little winks, but yeah, we're not. This is not officially attached to anyone. But yeah, we're doing Whiskey in the Jar. So keep an eye out for more information from that. I'll be talking about it on Facebook and Blue Sky.
Cool.
Um, my last announcement, then we'll get back to stuff that is relevant to 2024. I am launching a nonprofit called Support Life in Music to help musicians. I've got a lot of interesting and great people already on board who are supporters and friends and volunteers. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not saying like send me money. I'm just saying check out Support Life in Music. This is going to be my big deal in 2025. Um,
Okay.
well, and of course, Metal Hall of Fame. Rich and I both do a lot of stuff for the Metal Hall of Fame.
Right.
Not
A
just
lot of
follow.
a lot of writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just follow. Just does some
Behind the
great stuff
scenes.
every year with that.
Yeah.
All right, Rich.
All
So
right. So our last things that we have for topics that we're mentioning. So there were live albums that came out that were really cool. So I got the Halloween Live at Budokan that just came out. There's a lot of clips on YouTube that are amazing. I mean, seeing
yeah,
Andy and Michael Kiske sing Forever and One together, the duet, gives me the chills. It's Did you watch it yet?
no, but
It's a
yeah,
dude,
you're.
it's awesome.
I'm actually gonna let Rich run this category because I mean I have not done deep dives into any of the. I
Okay.
didn't even see the Ghost movie, so
Oh, it's
that's
great,
it.
dude. I saw that in theaters. It was awesome. The soundtrack came out. I'm so looking forward to the Blu-ray, so I have that on my list. It's called Right Here, Right Now.
Yeah.
Tigers of Pantang put out Live Blood live album, and so did Skid Row. It's called Live in London.
And which vocalist was there for Skid Row?
Eric Ronwall before he left, so that was great. I got to see them play in Jersey. He was amazing with them.
Great
So
singer,
those
incredible
are
singer.
yeah. So those are four live albums that I remembered to include. Books. There was the Judas Priest album by album from Martin Popoff. That was cool. I checked that out. And then you threw this category at me last minute. People who we met in our travels, right? Which is
All right.
kind of
Well, hang
cool. I
on,
like
hang on. Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get. Let me throw out some books too. So, did you
that.
have
Okay.
more books than the Judas Priest, or was that
No,
your
just that because there was the Queensryche one too, Roads to Madness. I didn't finish it though yet, but yeah, talks about their touring from the EP up to I think it's Promised Land or the one after it, Final Frontier. I think it was called, right? It's one of those
I
two
haven't seen the
albums.
book, but
It's one of those
yeah.
two albums. So that was the other one. So go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I'll be quick about my books of the year.
Okay.
I read Stephen Rosen's Tone Chaser, which is basically chronicling his friendship with Eddie Van Halen
Hmm.
right up until their friendship kind of they parted ways.
Hmm.
It's a giant book. It's bigger than your house, but it's
Yeah.
really
Big one.
fascinating look at the Van Halen family. I did not read Alex Van Halen came out with a book this year, but
Right.
I think Tone Chaser is fascinating.
Okay.
Um, two 2023 books I'm going to say I read this year, so I'll just do a quick shout out to the Getty Lee book, My F in Life, just wonderful. Getty Lee of Rush, of course, and then Geezer Butler of
Hmm.
Sabbath, Into the Void, just a great behind the curtains look at his life and at Sabbath. Some fiction books. Bert Eden's cool guy, actually was a guest on here not that long ago, did Dismember the Coop, which is a bunch of short stories from different artists, different writers, all horror stories that are Alice Cooper inspired. Then a great guy, J.C. Masek, did Symptoms of the Universe same idea, but it was stories that inspired by Black Sabbath. So
Hmm.
not based on the songs. They're not telling us about the story of Iron Man, but
Inspired
songs
by.
based on it. Yeah, inspired by. Ray Van Horn Jr. had a novel called Revolution Calling. But it's anyone who grew up a metal kid in the '80s can absolutely relate and recognize a lot of the references. Great writing, and then the same guy, Ray Ray Van Horn Jr. did
Slow
behind
down, Ted.
yeah, Ray Van Horn Jr. did Behind the Shadows, which is his own short story collection, and I was honored to blurb that book. So definitely check those books out. All right, so you want to do encounters or concerts next? You want to do encounters?
Let's do concerts, and then we'll do the encounters. So I just did one, two, three, four. All right, there's 7 here, so I'll do them real quick. Iron Maiden and There's Somewhere album revisited. Alexander the Great. Do I need to say more? I know it was the future past, but it was all about Somewhere in Time for me.
Yeah,
Wasp doing the entire debut album, and they played with Armored Saint. That was amazing. Striper doing their 40th anniversary tour and supporting the new album. And thankfully, Oz Fox was on stage playing, even though he had brain surgery over the summer for cancer. I mean, it's amazing. He literally has
yeah,
an angel on his shoulder, right?
yeah,
So that was very cool. 2 sets, a retro set from all the '80s stuff, and then they did stuff from the newer albums. Queensryche did their origin set with songs from the EP and the Warning. I mean, come on, right?
yes,
Also
yeah,
amazing.
yes,
Priest doing their Invincible Shield. That was another great tour. KK's Priest, right? That was like within a month of each other. That was also awesome. Getting to hear Nightcrawler from Painkiller. That was enough for me. I was like, I'm done. Love it. One of my favorite Priest songs. So I was very happy to get that. And the Clash of the Titans with Testament, Creator, and Possessed. I mean, Testament did the first 2 albums. That's all I needed.
yeah,
But Creator, their stage set was awesome. Testament brought the set list, but Creator had the right. That was awesome. All right, go ahead.
yeah.
Your concerts?
Well, I'll just start where you left off. Yeah, Clash of the Titans. Possessed, I've been a Possessed fan for years. As the second time I've seen them live, they just they're so great live. And Jess Becerra is just so happy. The joy that he radiates, he's just so happy to be there. Great stuff. You're right, man. Creator, they weren't even the headliner, but they had the most impressive club set I think I've ever seen, like background stage set I've ever
Well, we
seen.
were in a big theater here, so it was huge. We got all the demons that were there, the 2 on the sides and the one behind a drum kit. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, we got all that stuff too.
Yeah,
It was a good sized theater in Phoenix. But yeah, Creator. I mean, King Diamond, and Merciful Fate also do bring a great
yeah,
set. Uh, Testament. Also, like you said, just hearing all those songs from the first 2 albums, and
yep,
Chuck still does such. He just got it. He's
yeah,
such a great singer. It's funny. Chuck's got this big smile on his face while he's
yeah.
singing about like burning down the world. It's just great. Um,
And Alex Skolnick doesn't miss a note. Just
yeah, just
doesn't
yeah,
he doesn't make a
Testament
mistake.
or
Yeah.
yeah, they're world class act.
Okay,
Uh,
go ahead.
Possibly my favorite of the concert of the whole year was King Diamond with Overkill and Night Demon.
I missed
I
that
mean,
this
just
time. I usually go see King, but I didn't get to that one. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, King Diamond sounds amazing, and having Miracore on the vocals. I mean, he's ageless. He does not sound like man in his
Yeah.
60s, but but she adds a lot. I don't believe there's any backing, tapes or any of that stuff. I think she's all they need. And then Overkill, man, Jeremy, the new drummer. I mean, maybe it's the band's choice, but I mean, the tempo of the songs is like at warp speed now. So
You said
hearing
they're like
Elimination,
really fast now. Yeah.
yeah, at that speed, it's a whole new song. And like
Hmm.
Hello from the Gutter, I'll be honest, like completely honest. Whenever they launch that song, I just kind of roll my eyes, like, oh, okay.
But it was
But
a
man,
hit. What are you gonna do?
it's like a punk song, yeah. And then of course, Night Demon. Just if you have not seen Night Demon live, or if you don't know this band, then
Yeah.
get with it. Night
Great new
Demon,
band from the new wave of traditional heavy metal. It's out there. There's a whole bunch of bands out there.
yeah, it's amazing. The crowd just comes to life for them. Maiden I saw twice this year. It's our
Yeah.
last time seeing Nico. Just incredible seeing
That
Maiden.
too. Yeah, that's right. We got to see him for his last tour.
Yeah,
Yep.
but just wonderful hearing them. It's not the set list I would have picked, but as Rich said, Alexander the Great. I mean, that was the highlight.
And Somewhere in
Uh,
Time. I think there was 5 from that album.
Yeah,
So
I mean, all the songs from all the classic songs were amazing. And you know what? I will say the Senjutsu song sounded good live. I was
yeah, they
pleased
were
with
fine,
that.
but I didn't
Writing on
get
the
to
wall.
see somewhere in time back in '86. So this was great for me.
Yeah, same. I was too young. So I'll rattle through my last couple. There's some great shows. I don't want to give short shrift to anybody. Zeal and Ardor, as I just mentioned, just amazing live, great band. I saw Tom Kiefer, did Cinderella Classics. LA Guns
Mhm.
opened for him. They might have stolen the show. They were so good.
Mhm.
Um,
Cool.
Queensryche, as Rich already commented. I will also do a shout out for the opener I got for them was Jared James Nichols. So this is my second time seeing him. Probably the world's best guitar player who doesn't use a pick. Just
Nice.
unbelievable. He's a weird fit for Queensryche because he's very bluesy, but
Mhm.
just his take on War Pigs was just blew the roof off the place. Um,
Cool.
Priest, yeah, Priest, except who were touring with KK's Priest. So yeah,
Oh, that's
Judas
right. You
Priest,
saw that one.
incredible. Yeah, and then
See, when I
except
saw
we're
KK's Priest, I got LA Guns and Burning Witches, which was great.
that's cool too.
Burning Witch is another band from the new wave of traditional heavy metal. So good for them.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, good band on the rise. But yeah, KK's Priest. Yeah, I was actually sitting next to the runway leading up to the stage at one point, and I was looking at KK, and somebody grabs the top of my head, and I look up, and there's Ripper grabs the top of my head. I was like,
Awesome.
wow.
Cool.
All right, so we're down to our encounters of the year, and then
Start
we'll let
counting.
everyone
Right.
get
Who
on
we
with their
met
lives.
from our heroes, right?
Yeah, just cool encounters of. I mean, I have people who aren't world famous, but people who are important in the metal world who I met
Cool.
to my
So yeah,
list.
so last minute, this is when you put me on the spot. So I went to the Monsters on the Mountain festival in Tennessee, and it's like the equivalent of the Monsters of Rock on the boat that they do every year, you know. So this was there at a big theater, a big hall actually. So I met Rudy Sarzo. I was like, oh my god, I'm not worthy, right? It's a Rudy Sarzo.
I mean, Rudy Sarzo.
I
Oh my
got the
God.
I got the chills when I met the guy. The new singer for Vixen, Rosa, who's amazing. I got to see them do sound check. That was amazing. They sounded so good. Uh, Joel Hoekstra was there. He was doing an acoustic set. I saw him backstage, which we interviewed him right a couple of
Yeah,
years ago. Very nice
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys. I met him and the whole band in the lobby at the hotel. He signed my Dangerous Toys album, the CD. That was
Everybody
really
loves
cool.
him. Like, there's no, he doesn't have an enemy in the world. I don't think. Everybody loves him.
Let's see who else. Doug Blair and Mike Duda from Wasp. They were both. I was there, lucky enough to see the sound check, so they were out talking to me, and because they're friends with Jack Frost, friend of ours, so I got to chat with those guys. That was very cool, and they played amazingly. That was great. And recently, I met Chris Jericho. He was at that show. So this is before everybody saw that it was him. I'm like walking through the crowd. I was like, "Oh, dude, Chris Jericho." And then you saw Jack because I was with Jack, and he was like, they kind of knew each other, and they kind of started chatting. And then it was, we were just sitting there talking for like 5-10 minutes before they got all the people coming around getting photos. But Chris was awesome, big Halloween fan. He loves his metal just like we do. So it was very cool meeting Chris.
Yeah, I've met Chris Jericho a couple of years ago, and you're right. He's a fan. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He could
And he
punch you
does
through
his
the
own
wall.
show. He does his own podcast too. He talks about metal all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's arguably the world's most famous wrestler right now, active
Mhm.
wrestler, I guess, because Dwayne Johnson is not active, but
Yeah.
but he's also a humble, good guy, and yeah, loves his metal. He's
Yeah.
good for the metal world.
So who do you got?
Um, well, I'll start with the top of the list for me. This got to be the top. It's drinking tequila with Michael Wilton.
Nice.
That's like incredible. Um, so yeah,
That
Michael
was at
Wilton
the
hanging out.
origin story, right?
What's that?
That was the origin story. You met him.
Yeah, yeah. I met them backstage after event. Everybody in Queensrÿche except for Todd. He wasn't there, but like the other guys, like everyone was super cool. Had great conversations with everybody. Eddie, Mike,
Nice.
and Casey were just cool.
Cool.
Met Becky Baldwin of Merciful Fate earlier this year. Who She was she's just great. She was really nice and super talented. It was great to meet her. Jimmy K I met face to face earlier this year. Legendary. The figurehead of the metal voice.
Yeah, and thanks for always having us on, Jimmy. You know, as
Yeah,
well
for
as Noel
sure.
has as guests. So very cool.
Met Eamon O'Neill and Mickey O'Neill, the Irish musicians, and journalist. Eamon's he's actually a big shot, but it's also really great guys. Great meeting them. Met Eric Avina. I met him actually. I guess I met him technically last year, but he and I have talked a couple times a year from Jag Panzer. Uh, Ripper again. I've met Ripper before, but talking to Ripper again this year is incredible. Rich and I have interviewed Jarvis Weatherby from Night Demon, but I got to talk to him, meet him face to face, and hang out for
Cool.
like a minute.
That's right.
Just
You shared the pictures on the Metal Asylum Facebook page.
yeah, just a good down to earth guy, good guy. Bill McGathy from Indigoot, Carlos Cavazo, a Quiet Riot. Meeting him, like it's still another holy shit moment. Like oh my god, this is like
Cool.
go back to 1984 and tell somebody take a time machine, go back and tell 10-year-old me like, hey, you're gonna meet that guitar player.
I know, right?
Like
That's when I met Rudy Sarzo or any of these guys. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I talked to Rudy at the Metal Hall of Fame ceremony like 2 years ago. Yeah, and you're right. You're like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
it's
You
so,
know who you are.
right, right. Yeah, I must want to do the Chris Farley. Like, remember you did? Wasn't that great when you did that album? Anyway, so let me some other people I've met before, but I want to give a shout out to Chris Poland. Just a class act. I know he was probably a monster in the '80s, according to all the stories, but class act. One of the world's best guitar players. He was, famously with Megadeth, but also Damn the Machine. Chris Poland, Pat Georgiadis, another class act. He's not a musician, but behind the scenes guy, just a class act. Sam Saltman, another one. He's the leader of the Metal Invasion community on Facebook. Just a
Right.
great human being.
Yep.
Ryan Polito of Coffin Comics, creator of Lady Death and many other your favorite. I see him a lot at concerts. Just a super guy, very nice guy. I had more conversations with David Ellison this year, Neil Turbin, Jack Frost, who Rich is good friends with. I'm proud to call him a friend. Great guy. John Bambino, lifelong friend of mine, is also a great guy in the music industry. I think I've done all the name dropping I can. I think
All
I'm
right.
done.
Yeah,
I
we've been
think
on for an hour.
yeah, we've been going for an hour.
Yeah.
Let me do one more thing. I'm gonna take advantage of it. You're all chained to your computers. Some not metal albums that I must call out. So these albums are not metal, but I still like them a lot. I strongly recommend. David Gilmour's Luck and Strange is possibly one of the albums of the year for me. Uh, the Cure's new album, Songs of a Lost World, is very good. It's dark Cure. It's very much in the vein of Disintegration. Ministry are almost metal, but Hopium for the Masses is excellent. I'm going to take flack for this one, but I don't care. The new Pearl Jam is very good. It rocks hard. I've not been crazy about their recent releases, but the new album rocks hard. Chelsea Wolfe, she reaches out. She's a little bit too, I think, atmospheric to call her metal. Some people do. Very good stuff. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Wild God. It's just heart wrenching, great stuff. There's a band called The Sacred Souls, very soulful, very Marvin Gaye like, very good stuff. And then there's a band is just kind of good, straightforward traditional Southern rock. Dear Robin album is time bound. That's it. I'm gonna
We're
say
done.
again, check out my stuff. Check out Santa Thing. Stay tuned for Whiskey in the Jar. Uh, stay tuned for Support Life and Music, the nonprofit that is going to be a very big deal. I'm going to make it a big deal in 2025. I'm going to take a breath and let Rich take us out.
Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2025.
Yes, and thank you, Ten Beer, especially for sticking with us the whole time. Thank you, everyone who turned in.
Yep.
Happy Christmas and holidays to you too, Rich, and to everyone.
And see you next
And
year.
yeah, we'll see you next year. Thanks.
Cool.